Hey guys, do you find it difficult understanding the different business objectives and how to draw their diagrams? Do you find it challenging drawing the production points from the diagram and therefore speaking about why firms choose to change the production points and what that means for business strategies? If so, these are some of the issues we'll be speaking about in today's video. Hey guys, welcome to Progress Us. I'm Wasim and the aim is really to simplify economics. In today's video we're going to be looking at business objectives or the objectives of firms, and the first one we're going to be looking at is the traditional theory of profit maximization. Now, profit maximization is a common business objective. It's the main business objective that all businesses look to achieve, and for most of your exams, AQA, OCR, you'll be probably expected to talk about this in some form in terms of the market structure of a monopoly or monopolistic competition, and even price discrimination. So it does come up in different ways in various topics. So it is important that you understand the implication of profit maximization. And really where we start with this is understanding that profit maximization occurs where MC equals MR. Okay, and that will be at the point of production where the marginal cost crosses the marginal revenue, and that's that point there. Now what you would do is you would carry out the equilibrium. So you bring this down to the output point, you take it up to your demand curve, and that establishes price P1. You would also establish the costs of this firm at that production point. Okay, and the costs you can see are just here on the cost curve, cost C1. And therefore we can see that this rectangle box identifies our supernormal or abnormal profits. Now, it's important to understand that most market structures look to profit maximize. It's used quite often. Monopolies use it to charge a high price and exploit customers. Monopolistic firms in the short run look to profit maximize because their product differentiate. In perfect competition, firms initially look to profit maximize because they're the first ones in the market producing a homogeneous good. But in the case of monopolistic competition and in perfect competition, the supernormal profits are competed away due to the fact that a large number of buyers and sellers are entering the market and there's low barriers to entry. In a monopoly, however, the supernormal profits are not competed away because there is no competition and there are high barriers to entry, generally with one dominant firm in that market. Okay. This also allows us to understand that this diagram can be used in explaining how cartels work, because cartels act as monopolies. So drawing this diagram would be perfectly reasonable to show how a cartel fixes the price and therefore acts as a monopoly and charges a high price of P1. So again, the diagram can be used in many different ways. It can also be used to describe price discrimination, where you can show how monopolies look to price discriminate based on consumer surplus. And I'll be covering that in a different video, so make sure you watch those as well. Just some points on this diagram to understand. Some people don't quite understand why this point here is profit maximization. I've had students say to me before that, why is that the point of profit maximization when firms are making more profit before then? It's not quite the case. And what you have to understand here is that your marginal cost curve is over here, okay? And your marginal revenue curve is up here, going down. Now, at this point here, the revenue is higher than the cost, you're making profit. So the distance between there and there is the profit. If we now move to this point here, in the next unit of production, and go up, you can still see that the marginal revenue is much higher than the marginal cost. So the distance there is also the profit. If we continue doing that, profit is still being made by the distance there. And what you see is, as you keep moving across, the profit is still being made, but it's decreasing until it gets to this point here, which is the profit maximization point. At that point there, MC equals MR, and no more profit is being made. That's why this is the point of profit maximization. It's because it's a culmination of the addition of all of the revenue and cost as you move across to Q1. So by adding up the amount of profits, yes, between the largest distance is between here and here, and that would be the point where the maximum profit at that unit is being made. But you have to add up all of the profits until you get to MC equals MR, which is known as the profit maximization point. If you now go beyond the profit maximization point, so you move to the right, what you start noticing is that the revenue curve is here and the marginal cost curve is here. So your revenue curve is now below the cost curve. When your cost is higher than your revenue, you're not making any profits, you're losing profits. That's because, if you remember, profit is equal to total revenue minus total cost. So revenue has to be greater than cost in order to make a profit. On the left hand side of this profit maximization point, revenue is higher than cost, so absolutely fine, making profit. On the right side of this profit maximization point, costs are higher than revenue, so you're losing profit. And that's why we call that point there the profit maximization point. So I hope that clears that up. A lot of students always ask that and get confused about why that is the profit maximization point. And hopefully now you understand that. You wouldn't want to draw these arrows in an exam on a diagram. You probably wouldn't need to explain that. It's just for understanding. The key bit is highlighting this rectangle box and showing that is the supernormal profit. And that is essentially the business objective, traditional theory of profit maximization. Hope the video helped. If so, please subscribe. Keep sending me messages telling me what videos you'd like to watch.